The conversation of HSC digital transformation is still ongoing, leveraging Microsoft 365. And so in the next couple of days, we're going to be exploring all the Microsoft 365 tools. In our previous video, we looked at the business case for SharePoint. And in today's video, we're going to look at the practical understanding of SharePoint. So this is more of the demo of what SharePoint is and how it works. So without wasting time, let's get right into it. Before you can have access to SharePoint, you should have subscribed to Microsoft 365, either the business or the enterprise plan, because that gives you access to SharePoint, which is this one, and the various applications you need to open files within SharePoint, and that will be Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, or document that you have in there. So basically, once you have subscribed, irrespective of whichever application you're on, whether you're in Excel or let's say Teams or whatever, you'd always find the app launcher on the top left corner. So the app launcher would give you all the apps that you have access to. Okay, so basically we are looking at SharePoint, and so once I click on here, it takes me to the SharePoint homepage. And one thing we need to bear in mind is that the SharePoint link is actually your company's domain or your company's site with SharePoint.com. All right, so mine is shexel.sharepoint.com, and so this is probably the URL that is going to be for almost every company. You're going to have your company site name and then .sharepoint.com. So that's how you can actually move very fast if you're not in any of the web-based applications, because within other desktop applications, sometimes it's very difficult to go into SharePoint. So once you have access to your SharePoint site, you want to make sure you bookmark it safely somewhere, because that's what you're going to use to always get into SharePoint or online applications. And so this is the interface of SharePoint. So SharePoint is basically a collaboration and document management platform. So this is where you can actually collaborate with your team, you can manage all your documents, work on projects, and there are a lot of advantages, right? So we've looked at some of these advantages in our previous video. This is a cloud platform which stores all your documents, give permission levels, there's access control, there's version history tracking, and all of that. So we're going to look at all of this in this episode, right? So this is how the interface is. We have the top navigation bar, and the top navigation bar basically has the app launcher. Then there's the SharePoint site, which is for you to know that you are within SharePoint, and there's a search bar. So the search bar is for you to search any document that is within SharePoint. And then again, we have these icons like the settings that you can use to do some settings on the pages that you're on, and you have the profile over here. All right, now we also have the side navigation bar. Right, so this side navigation bar has the home tab or the home icon, which you can click on to come to home. There's also the site icon. This takes you to the site that we have within SharePoint. We also have the news, and so the sites that you have, there are some of the sites that could be like a news site, and so every news that is published there, you're gonna find it when you come to my news. And then also there is a document site. So my files will give you all the files that you have access to. Files that you may have recently visited, they're all gonna populate over here. And then the other one is my list. So all the lists that you have access to. Now lists are like tables that are within SharePoint, so we call it list or SharePoint list. So we're gonna look at them in due time. And then we have the create button over here, so you can actually create a new post, create a new page, create a new site, or create a new document and things like that. All right, so that is the side navigation bar, and then the top navigation bar. Now over here we have the navigation panel. So the navigation panel has the quick links to sites that we are following or recently visited sites. So over here we can tell that we have about 4 sites that we are literally been visiting or we are following. And so over here, which is the content area, you're gonna see the sites that you have been visiting over here. So the content area basically has almost everything that is happening within the site gonna be displayed here. So here you can actually see the news that have been published recently. You can see the frequently visited sites and other announcements. They can all be here. Okay, so the most important thing is that you just have to make sure that you are aware of the sites that you have been visiting, and so that you can easily locate it and visit it, right? And apart from that, also we have the details pane. Now the details pane only comes about, or it pops up whenever you click on the to have access to a document. For example, if I go into my digital health and safety management system, which is also a site that gives me access to basically a document library, and the document library which I created, which I'll be showing in a bit, the fact that you can create a communication site or a document site. So basically my document library, also we have the navigation bar here, we have the top navigation bar, the side navigation bar, we have the content area over here, and then once I click on, for example, this one, but once I click on the icon, the link over here, I have access to the details pane. So this is the details pane that gives us information about the document that you want to open. So let's just go back to the home page. We click on this link, it takes us back to the home page, and let's understand a few things. In SharePoint, there are only 2 sites you can create. It's either you are creating a communication site or a team site. All right, so the difference between the two is the fact that communication site looks like an intranet. This is where you want to be publishing your news, content, newsletters, and all of that. That is communication site. So that gives you the feature of like like a website, blog site, or a blog post. Okay, and then we have the team site. So the team site is where you can create documents library, invite members to the team and all of that. So once you click on it like this, it takes you to, basically a list of templates that you can choose from. So the best is usually to go for the standard because you don't want to make it too complicated, though there are other options like you could create employee onboarding team, like event planning team and all of that, but just going for the standard team. So once you click on standard team, then it gives you the interface of it. So this is how it looks like, and that is similar to what I'll be showing you in a bit. I don't want to create a site yet, but for example, if I click on use this template, all I need to just give the site a name and then I publish it, and that's it. Once I publish it, I don't want to create this. Once I publish it, then I have access to a site that looks like this. For example, this is my document library, okay, and so this one I changed the home page. Okay, so let's go back to another one and let's look at this one, because this is where I have all my documents in there. So this is how it looks like. This is similar to the standard one that we saw, the standard template, right? So we have the navigation pane over here that has the quick links to our documents, notes, pages, and all of that. Okay, so when I click on notes, it takes you to notes. I don't want to go to notes. We have the Excel forms, like forms, that a folder that I created for creating forms, and so you can actually create a form within a particular site so that you can create as many forms as you want. But this is something I will look at in another video. So this is pretty much the navigation panel that has links to a lot of areas that we could be interested in. Like for example, you can go to our recycling bin to sort of bring back a document or restore a document that we may have deleted, or we can go back to our document library, and this is probably the most common area that you'll be visiting within any particular site. Okay, now within a particular site, you can actually add members to the site. For example, if I go to shexcelonline.com, right, I can bring in members. So I can say members and I can add members to the site. So this is where we talk about access control. You can limit the particular site to specific people within your company so that it becomes, very controlled workspace. So that's really it. So the interesting thing is the fact that every folder, every file that we have, you can have access to it in here. And the only way you can open it is to make sure that you have the web version. Of course, once you are in the business, we are on the business plan or the enterprise plan, you have access to the web version. So anything that you open here is simply going to open it through the web URL. So the SharePoint, shexcel.sharepoint.com, and then you have the file open. So in my next video, I'm going to be explaining how important these applications are, especially when you're working in SharePoint. So that's it, guys. I hope you find this video insightful. I'm going to see you guys in another video where we take a deep dive into having access to all your files and how that can connect to Microsoft Teams and all of that. See you in another video. Bye for now. Cheers.